In general, we're more about the review of the goal of the company. And one thing that I like how he reframed it at the end is he says something like, they want to be the company that comfortably retire 1 million people, because it's easier to explain to a retiree stretch than Bitcoin. You can easily explain that you're going to get a bank account with a 10% yield than going through the whole rabbit hole of trying to explain Bitcoin to someone that is older, or to pension funds, or to bigger pool of money that they will have other requirements. So it's refinement or redirection of the strategy into making the focus on this preferred stock, not taking more debt, not more convertible debt, to deleverage the company that is already pretty low leverage. It's around 8% leverage. So, but when all the convert bonds expire on 2029, I think is the last one, their goal is to go into zero leverage. So it was more about reframing what is the goal, what are the instruments that are gonna use to get into that goal, more than other things like the few new innovation that they're gonna deploy.
Yeah, I think they also. Yeah, sorry, Fernando, go ahead.
I want to add two things. The first thing is something that we always talk with Diego at the office, that is doing what you have to do, no matter what, no matter the result. And they are clear that they are doing what they have to do, that is accumulating Bitcoin, no matter the MNAV, no matter the stock price. Their vision is long-term, and it's going to pay dividends in the future. Hello, we are live. This is the Bitcoin Libertarian, and we are with Diego and Marco in a special stream of our emission to share with you the earnings call of Strategy. How are you doing, guys?
Very good. Ready to see the news about Strategy this month.
Yeah, I'm great, and yes, be ready for a long call. Probably, Sailor said it will be the most entertaining call of them all. So let's see.
Yes, I hope, and it's the first time, Marco, that we are behind. Like, we are late, earlier than you, because usually we are later than you. Now in Italy is 9:30, 5 p.m. We are in Argentina, 5:35 p.m. in Buenos Aires. That's why you see my background a little bit strange, and but we are ready to go. So, but before going to the call, it's been a while since we didn't have the weekly stream about treasury companies. So maybe we can do a recap of what has been doing on and what happened this week, because the rate cut came and Strategy is falling around 7.5%.
Yeah, not really great news lately for all the Bitcoin treasury, but I think it's kind of expected. Maybe not expected, the severity of the drawdowns, because overall Bitcoin is flat or in a tight range for almost 1 year. But yes, I think it's kind of normal, and hopefully we need to see also Strategy try to gain back some momentum. Let's see today how it will play out, and over the next weeks, if we survive the $250 per share and we start to climb higher, probably the worst is over. If we go below this kind of 240, 250, we might revisit some lower share price, which would be depressing for one side of the crew, but could be amazing if you still have some conviction and some money or some long-term trade to do. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, because in one of the models that we are running for the MNAV and MicroStrategy, the current prediction of the minimum MNAV 1 would be 240, which is coincidental with your appreciation. Theoretically, at the current Bitcoin price of 107, 108K, the MicroStrategy price corresponding with MNAV 1 could be 240. So we can establish that should be the bottom of the price range. Obviously, the price can fall down below MNAV 1, as we have seen with some of the other Bitcoin treasury companies. But in my opinion, that's only temporarily, meaning it could be months below that range. But eventually, you have to rise up. Otherwise, you will have an arbitrage situation that someone sooner or later we'll take advantage of it. So we can establish a bottom for that. And obviously, this bottom is a moving target, because as the price of Bitcoin, if it keeps falling down, obviously that bottom for the price of MicroStrategy also will come down. But on the other way, if the Bitcoin price rise up again, that bottom will rise up too. So it's a good idea to have it as a mental focus on what could be the bottom for the MicroStrategy price. But let's see the bullet points of the report.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just released the data. So now it's still 30 minutes into the opening hour of the US. Strategy went 249, 250, and now it rebounded around 265. So I think overall, over the very short term, it's very not indicative, but over the very short term, the market responded pretty well to this kind of data. Of course, they will explore much more in detail during the Q3. So I just wanted to share with you guys and also with the public audience, just to have it in a preview. The data seems very solid, seems amazing, but again, we know that share price is sometimes uncorrelated with the fundamentals. It's more about sentiment. It's more about the general state of the market, and the price is done on the margin, so it can follow some strange behavior sometimes. But overall, the data are very strong, and yet we still have to see stretch with the ATM. We still have to see, some more pushing from the preferred offering now that they've been rated by the S&P. So potentially there is new cohort of investor willing to buy these instruments. So I think overall the setup is positive. We just need to wait for also Bitcoin to start giving new signals of strength.
Wasn't it a little bit weird, the report on the B- rating? Because on my understanding, it was something like, obviously I'm going to do a generalization, but it was something like the B- is because you have too much Bitcoin and not so much cash. As one of the interpretations of the overall rate, which is exactly the strategy that we're trying to follow, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was laughing when I read this line. The main argument was that they were too short on the USD and too long on Bitcoin. So for traditional financial, the financial architecture is diversification is key. Having different duration is key. Having different geography, different industries is super important. In this case, we are all in on one concept. So as long as you don't believe in Bitcoin and you don't understand Bitcoin, strategy is very speculative and very risky, and everything they are doing is red flag. So B- is garbage. It's literally garbage. It's only up, and I mean below you have triple C, which is almost junk bond status. So B- is very very low. But I think it's important because it's rated, so some pool of capital can now access those instruments only because it's a rated instrument, and because they couldn't access it because it was not rated. So even though I think it's a very low rating and probably in the future they should go higher, it's positive because new institutional investor can buy now this preferred.
Yes,
Yeah, I think the other point was that the risk-adjusted capital frameworks, they consider Bitcoin as an intangible asset. So it comes down to a misaligning of the two worlds. Wall Street considering Bitcoin not yet a tangible real asset, while the strategy from MicroStrategy is totally the opposite. It's moving into Bitcoin because it is the hardest asset. So there is a mismatch there in the interpretation from the S&P observations, which we will see if in time they will be aligned with what Bitcoiners believe about Bitcoin. The other point was the volatility. So it was penalized because of Bitcoin volatility, and kind of at some point, I think they also consider it similar to real estate in the sense of not so liquid, which we know Bitcoin is probably the most liquid asset by far in the market.
Yes, I think when Diego told me about this on the airport, I was crazy. Say the people is complaining because they have a lot of Bitcoin. That's the show. That what shows that people, the investors, don't understand it because it's a Bitcoin treasury company. So if it's a Bitcoin treasury company, it's good that they have more Bitcoin than cash. That's the point.
Yeah, and the other point that they made was something about self-custody. Like there would be a risk on the way strategies custodying the Bitcoin. For example, what would happen if they lost the private key or something like that might impact the overall strategy, and they would consider a better solution to have third-party solutions in between to minimize the cybersecurity risk, which Bitcoiners know exactly it's the opposite. You don't want to have other third parties, counterparties in the middle, which could increase actually their risk.
Yeah, I think on that side I should align with the custodial, because again, it's not an exchange, it's not a broker, it's not a bank, it's a company that is buying Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, I don't want the CEO or the CFO having direct access to the seed phrase. So in my view, strategy today, they are using Coinbase and Fidelity mainly for their custody of their Bitcoin. I'm not sure, maybe a portion of it's some self-custodial with maybe 2 out of 3 multi-sig from strategy and 1/3 from another company. But I think it's overall fine for me, at least, to have a big player like strategy to have custodians in this case. Even though, again, as pure Bitcoiner and as an individual Bitcoiner, I think self-custody in the traditional way is the best way. But for a Bitcoin equity, I'm not very concerned if you have a trusted third party, a big player like Coinbase or Fidelity doing this kind of activity. So, but again, I totally agree with you, Diego. The report from the S&P for us was kind of funny, but we also need to acknowledge that for them is a new instrument, is a new industry. It's something that is around for a couple of years. They preferred only from January of 2025. So I think we should also give some credit to the dinosaurs on the
Yeah.
on the traditional space to give more time to try to understand and not because also for them, imagine if they evaluate strategy AA or A, it might be
They
kind
would
of,
have they
you
would have
see
to
from
review all the other instruments.
everything,
It's
it
exactly.
will be a tsunami of problem from within and also for the message that you give from the outside. So I think it was kind of, let's try to rate this instrument. Because I remember also a movie, which I don't remember if it was The Big Short or another one, in which normally you have the meetings, in which you have the CEO of the company, the committee from the S&P or Moody's, and they kind of exchange friendly and they find a common ground. So I think Saylor and Fong Li, all the team from strategy, they really wanted to be rated because they unlock new capital pool. But on the same time, the other side say, yeah, maybe we know that your company is more solid than B minus, but we cannot put I don't know, A or triple B because it will indicate to the market that we might reassess all the other companies. So it will be too messy. So it's kind of win-win scenario for everyone, and I think it's overall fine as a first step.
Yeah, it would be a mess up with the overall bonds market
Yeah.
that we have to reprice everything again. The other point was another mismatch, even in between traditional finance, because it seems like the S&P is not considering Bitcoin as a collateral, but on the other hand, this week JP Morgan announced that they will accept Bitcoin for loans. So even in traditional finance, there is this mismatch of interpretation of what is going on. I think it's a process that it might take a couple of years to everybody come to a common understanding of what it actually is. But it's kind of common that at this point, even in traditional finance, some people might have certain ideas, and other bank might have other ideas. Eventually, will come down to what Bitcoiners believe is we've been proven right in the long term. We will be proven right again with strategy.
I think so. Yeah. And what can we say about Bitcoin? Because we were so excited at the beginning of the month with October reaching a new all-time high, and now seems that October is going to close with a loss. What can we expect, and why this is happening?
Never follow the main trend. So everyone said, yeah, October is bullish. So for sure, people got 50x leverage on hyperliquid, betting like crazy, degens. And you see maybe, other players, whales, OGs, and speculator that maybe realized too much short-term euphoria, and it got punished. But again, we are at 108. It's perfectly in line with the power law. So I think, it's sad because every one of us wants to see the 200, 250, but maybe we go to 250 at mid of 2026. Who knows?
Yeah, it was funny because 2 days ago, it looks like October will end in negative.
Yeah,
Then suddenly we moved to 116K
positive.
2 days.
So
And
yeah,
now we're positive. Everybody
yeah.
was expecting maybe in 2 days we have a new all-time high. 2 days later, we are down the
I
water
think
again.
I think that to save Bitcoin, we need to go back to Zurich.
Yeah, guys, go back to Plan
No,
B,
the,
and
the fun, no, funny thing is because we have a theory. We have a friend that one time he came to Hong Kong and was
Mhm.
the all-time high that day. And I don't
Okay.
know why I start saying that every time he comes to Hong Kong, we have an all-time high, and it's not true. And he is living in Zurich. So when we went to Lugano, then we planned to go to Zurich to visit him, but he was not in Zurich. So, but when we went to Zurich, the price went up. So we say, okay, probably is some kind of magic. So we need to go back to when we left Zurich, price start going down. So probably we need to pay a visit to Zurich in the way
Mhm.
back to Hong Kong.
Yeah, by the way, just a live news from Coinbase, from Brian Armstrong. They announced that they increased the BTC holding by 2,772. So also Coinbase is trying to say to the world, look, we are also accumulating Bitcoin, because for the first years since the IPO, they almost never increased their BTC holdings. Over the last 2 quarters, they started to do it. So they added almost 3,000 BTC in Q3. I think it's a very positive news.
Yes.
I still don't know why I have this feeling about Coinbase being a shit Coinbase.
The casino
Um,
base. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Have a bad feeling with them. But it's kind of similar to what I was thinking about Tether many years ago.
Mhm.
Now, when I listen to Paul Arduino, that is being more public now in his speeches, I totally changed my opinion about Tether. Hopefully, Coinbase follow a similar path.
I mean, I
Yes.
always perceived Tether like much, much more Bitcoin focused than Coinbase, but by miles. So overall, I'm pretty happy now that I see that that Brian Armstrong and the team is trying to also align with the accumulation of Bitcoin, because I think it's crucial for any public company and big company. Even more so if you are like one of the biggest exchange in the space for almost 10 years. So it makes total sense. So I think it's positive. Overall, it's a casino because they list, I don't know, like 100,000 coins, and they should do more on Bitcoin only side. But I also understand the business model. I understand that you can generate money trading this stuff with a lot of frequency and velocity. they should do more on Bitcoin side, yes, but overall I'm happy that they are accumulating Bitcoin, because at the end of the day it's on the same team. So I think
And it's the main
it's
company, is the main crypto company
Mhm.
listed in the S&P.
Yeah.
Which
As of today, yes.
yeah, which leads me to think, do you think that this credit valuation by the S&P might affect in the next decision when they have to consider strategy for the S&P 500? I don't know when is the next
I think it's in
um,
December. The
December,
next,
right?
yeah.
Do you think that this rating might play as a positive indication?
I mean, for me, yes, because it means already that they started to look very into strategy. They are starting to spend more time, dedicate at least one analyst or few analysts in trying to understand the Bitcoin concept, Bitcoin back credit, the Bitcoin equity plays, etc. Having instruments rated, I think it's a positive. Of course, B minus is not great, so probably they could say, look, it's a B minus. We rated it, but I'm not expecting again a strategy to be included in the next slot. Probably more so in Q1 or Q2 in 2026. But I think it's a positive thing that the biggest credit rating agency, which is S&P, and also S&P 500, it's the index. They rated them. I think it's a very positive thing. Doesn't mean that December is almost a done thing. Probably not, but it's for sure positive. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, and we need to think, when we think about Bitcoin, I always say we are asking too much to Bitcoin. We want Bitcoin to be 250, 300K, 500K. We need to understand that less than 1 year ago, we reached 100K for first time. It was December 4, 2024. And since May 9 of this year, we close every single day over
Yeah, above.
100K. So that's the point.
Yeah. Let me play the devil's advocate a little bit on that. When you check the Bitcoin price now, if you are gonna do a little bit of cherry picking, you might say, if I play in the Peter Schiff role, that the price of Bitcoin didn't change since January. Literally, in
Yeah.
January, you will find 167K somewhere during January. So obviously, in the middle, we break a
Crash to
couple of
75.
times. And the good news is that we never go. Oh yeah, we go down actually the 100K. But I think after May we didn't come back to
Yeah,
below.
after May 9.
On the
After
other
May 9,
hand, same checking the prices of MicroStrategy. If you would have to check the year-over-year performance a couple of months ago, you will see that still strategy had like 100% or 50% return. As of today, it's only 3%. It means the price of MicroStrategy in November 2024 and at the end of the October 2024 was almost identical as the price today. So that speaks to the volatility and the flatness of Bitcoin overall in the year. We can say it's been a flat year, even though with these volatilities in the middle, they were not as volatile as before. It looks more like a kind of like a bear flat market, which plays negatively for the Bitcoin Treasury companies because they need the volatility to perform. And as Bitcoin remains flat, all the Bitcoin Treasury companies have been paying the price in the last month, particularly.
Yeah, we could also say that we experienced over the last 1 year in Bitcoin a sort of bear market when pricing gold, flat in terms of USD. And again, for me, it's not very, overall, it's not a bad thing, because historically, when we see the Bitcoin price, the more we stay in a range, the more we consolidate. Normally, the next big move, it's normally it's on the upside, because Bitcoin behaves like this. When you have multiple correction, multiple time retesting over and over the 100K, it means that the market is consolidating the range, is accepting this status, and it's much higher the chances that we move higher, not lower. normally Bitcoin, when it breaks and just nuke to the lower, technical analysis support or the range. So I think it's a very healthy consolidation. 100K is the biggest milestone ever for Bitcoin. Of course, the AI took the stage, so we are a bit frustrated because we see some stock going crazy. But again, I think now it's much better play to buy Bitcoin and not buying Nvidia, for example. Nvidia is a 5 trillion asset. It's up 100% over the year. Bitcoin is 2.3 trillion. It's almost flat. So for me, today it makes sense to rotate out from AI and from those play to Bitcoin because it's literally the underdog and it's very likely that it's overperforming the other asset classes.
Excellent. As always say,
Yeah.
no financial advice. Guys,
No financial advice for sure.
We are waiting for strategy. I think they are gonna go live any moment soon. Let me do a little bit of announcement. If someone who is watching plans to come to Buenos Aires for La BitConf on November 7 and November 8, they can use our code Libertarian to get a 30% discount, and they are gonna watch us on the stage as speakers. Diego is gonna be moderating a panel talking about treasury companies, so it's gonna be very, very, very nice. And let's see. So I think that they are live. Let me share the screen. Let me share the screen and share. Let me share the screen and so here. Let me. Yeah, it's okay, right?
Yes, it's working. Yes. Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Now it's perfect. So we are ready.
A long
So,
one.
guys, very, very long one. I heard an echo.
No, it
Now
sounds
it's
fine to
okay.
me.
Yeah, it sounds fine. Sorry for the dogs barking. I think that all the dogs of the neighborhood start fighting at the
Starts to
same
fight, yeah.
time. But anyways, so a little recap of the call we have just seen.
Yeah, maybe I just have few points, and then guys, we can discuss also your thing that stuck in your mind. For me, the main thing was that they want to access new markets and new jurisdictions in doing these preferred offerings. So probably they mentioned Europe with euro and Japan with the yen. This will be massive also for the narrative of the other small LBs that they say we need one in every jurisdiction. But if strategy starts to be efficient also in other currency, they will probably eat almost the market share of those other companies in the other jurisdictions. So I think it was very interesting, and also the point of no M&A. That strategy, they don't want to pursue any M&A, even if you have a distressed company with, I don't know, at 0.8x MNAV. They've been pretty clear. And the last point on the preferred that I didn't realize up to today probably is the fact that they don't have tax liabilities on those preferred because of the structure of MicroStrategy, that they don't do earnings, so they can have this kind of deferred tax liabilities on the preferred, which will effectively increase the rate that you receive from those instruments. So instead of the 10%, effectively you might have the 16% or even higher depending on the structure. So I think for me those 3 points were very interesting, very bullish, and all of the people from strategy, they seem super focused more than ever. So positive sign for me.
Yeah, there wasn't many new thing other than the three that you point out. The expansion into international markets with probably the creation of new kind of prefers in different currencies. They were pointing out frequently the thing about the rock dividends, which is the expression of the not taxable dividends. But that might affect probably like U.S. investors or other jurisdictions. For example, in our case, we couldn't even care in Hong Kong because there is no taxes. So that's related to where is your jurisdiction. In general, we're more about the review of the goal of the company. And one thing that I like how he reframed it at the end is he says something like, they want to be the company that comfortably retire 1 million people. Because it's easier to explain to a retiree stretch than Bitcoin. You can easily explain that you're going to get a bank account with the 10% yield than going through the whole rabbit hole of trying to explain Bitcoin to someone that is older or to pension funds or to bigger pool of money that they will have other requirements. So it's refinement or redirection of the strategy into making the focus on this preferred stock, not taking more debt, not more convertible debt, to deleverage the company that is already pretty low leverage. It's around 8% leverage. So, but when all the convert bonds expire on 2029, I think is the last one, their goal is to go into zero leverage. So it was more about reframing what is the goal, what are the instruments that are gonna use to get into that goal, more than other things like the few new innovation that they're gonna deploy.
Yeah, I think they also. Yeah, sorry, Fernando. Go ahead.
I want to add two things. The first thing is something that we always talk with Diego at the office, that is doing what you have to do, no matter what, no matter the result. And they are clear that they are doing what they have to do, that is accumulating Bitcoin, no matter the MNAV, no matter the stock price. Their vision is long term, and it's going to pay dividends in the future. And the other thing is, you mentioned, Marco, when the analyst asked them about if they are going to buy companies with MNAV under 1, this is something that we've been discussing for long, a few weeks ago. So another point for us.
I mean, they said it in advance, and it makes sense because on paper you can say, yes, it's 0.8x MNAV, it makes sense to buy, but it's not that easy. You need to deal with the existing shareholder base, you need to buying out some shareholder that maybe don't want to finalize the transaction, you need to take personnel, you need to take the balance sheet, the assets, but also liabilities. There is a lot of complication that it doesn't make any sense for a pure player like Strategy that just want to streamline everything. And I wouldn't be surprised even if in the future they decide to do a spin-off for their own business intelligence and create maybe a separate company only for the BI and just be focused fully 100% with, I don't know, 20 employees just for the Bitcoin core activities, and be much more similar to Tether in the sense of, how you can maximize all the earnings per employees, and you just have this kind of very dedicated and full streamlined Bitcoin company, which at the end of the day, that's their goal. And I mean, today they even mentioned for 1 second the BI, it's a legit business. It's probably 1.5 billion overall business, but now it's completely not even talked by the board during during the earnings call. So they are only focused on that, and I love it. And also the fact that you said, Diego, they want to completely remove the leverage, even though today it's like 10%. They want to go to zero. They want to say to the world, look, we are not over levered. Stop saying this bullshit. It's completely wrong. Stop saying that we are over levered, that we risk margin call. It's not there is no need to say this because it's not effective. So I think it was very, very solid to try to again shape their own business and their own activity. Nothing maybe super new or breakthrough, but I think it consolidated their own business model and the idea moving forward.
Yes, it seems like the price rebounded a little bit after the call, like 10 from 255 to 265 now in the post market. So it maybe was seen as a positive call, even though there was no many new things or new announcements other than a reviewing of the main goal and how they are going to achieve. Another question that raised my attention is the guy who asked, how are they going to achieve the 30% Bitcoin yield by the end of the year? That requires the rising of 2 more billion in 2 months, which to me also sounds like challenging, but they seems to be comfortable in achieving it.
Maybe they have
Like before Christmas or
a
something
new
like that.
preferred. Maybe they might have a new preferred in the to complete maybe the yield curve, maybe. Or they are very confident that with the rating they can unlock I don't know, some more big institutional player that they already said to them, look, I can only buy if it's I don't know, Stretch or another product is rated. They seems very confident. Fong and Mike, they start to laugh because they know something but they cannot disclose. So I think they have in the hand like 2, 3, or 4 billion more to raise probably.
Maybe they are just comfortable that, or confident, I mean, that the Bitcoin price will actually get to the 150K by the end of the year, because there was an interview by Saylor this week and he ratified that. And on the presentation, they also show that that is the actual prediction of most of the agencies around trying to predict the Bitcoin price. So maybe they are everybody is agreeing that the price should go to that level, and they're counting on that. At this time, with 2 months ahead, it sounds challenging because now we have to think that the price should increase by 50% in 2 months. Seems unlikely, but nothing that Bitcoin hasn't done before. It is possible, definitely.
Yeah, and now I think it will be challenging also. Bitcoin at the end of the day, it's all of us trading it, buying it, hodling it, doing, everyone depending on the perspective. But now there is a lot of people saying that the Fourier cycle is still alive. So maybe we will see some more selling pressure in November or even in December, because if you stick with this plan, maybe the top was already at 126 in 10 of October. No, maybe it was not 10. It was like 5 of October.
6 of October.
6 of October. And so a lot of those people might say, yes, the top was in, so now I sell. So maybe we can see some more couple of months of bull and bears try to understand if the Fourier cycle is still a thing or not. And eventually, if it's not, I am afraid that the price will start to rise because you have all the other person selling before realizing that the Fourier cycle is no longer in place and maybe adjusting more, jumping again in for FOMOing and try to push the price higher. So 150 by end of the year, it seems today unreasonable or even too high if the Fourier cycle is still in place. Or we can even overshoot it. But again, as you said, in Bitcoin, you'll never know. So we just need to be patient, stay humble, and if we have more money to buy Bitcoin and more money to buy strategy. So
I think so. Yes. I think that what happened last year, if we remember before, I don't remember before the day before of the election, of the US election on November 4, I think that Bitcoin was around 60,000 or something like that. And that day, it broke the all-time high of 72, went up to over 80, and reached 100K in December. So it raised more around 50% in a few months. So something that can be done. But let's see what happens. I agree with Marco. At now, it seems like not possible to be realized, but Bitcoin always surprise us. So let's see.
Yeah, it will be fun to understand if the Fourier cycle will be there or not. I mean, for me, the structure is completely different. Market structure, the participation of institution, ETFs, the strategies and the LBs, etc. And also the Fourier cycle is too easy. It's a narrative that is too easy, and I think at some point it has to break. And I think there is all the ingredients this year that this might be extended. So yeah, will be. I'm really. I think the next 2 months will tell us a lot about the future of Bitcoin in terms of price behavior and the asset class more broadly.
Yes.
I would be happier if Bitcoin actually breaks this dependency with the stock market, because it seems like every time we dip hard, the S&P and Nasdaq drop 1 or 2% the same day. So every time that happens, which is totally contrary to gold, every time the stock markets drop, gold goes up. With Bitcoin, it seems to be very correlated. I don't mean that it's gonna be forever, because this correlation also are cycles. You can see when you study long trends that the correlations goes like in cycles for months where it is very correlated, and for months which is totally uncorrelated. But for now, for the last at least 4, 5, 6 months, it seems to me like every time there is bump on the road on the stock markets, Bitcoin keep dipping. When we go out, we go up. So if we break that pattern, I think we can have clear skies ahead and maybe reach the 150K. But I think we need to break that cycle more than the 4-year cycle that people is still talking about. I think at this point I would bet it's over. Still, I give it a little chance that maybe it's still on. But if I have to put money on it today, I would say that 4-year cycle is gone. You are on a different path now.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see what happens. So, guys, thank you for being here. It was a long stream, but was good. And probably let's see if we can meet on Saturday, probably by noon Argentina time, 4 p.m. Italy time.
Italy,
Let's
okay.
chat a little bit on the WhatsApp. So we can talk a little bit about the other companies, what is going on with NACA, with Capital B, with Smarter Web Company, and what can we expect by
And the other
end
news.
of the
Yeah,
year.
sure.
Guys, see you soon.
Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, guys.
And thank you to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. And remember, share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach 8 billion people and give them the orange pill. See you in the next episode of our podcast. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi. And that's all for today. If you like the episode, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. Our X account is the Bitcoin _. Our YouTube channel is the Libertarian BTC. Our YouTube channel in Spanish is Libertarian BTC ESP. Our Patreon, the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our Instagram, the Bitcoin Libertarian. That's all. You can go there and follow us in all our social media.